Okay, so this is one of the front wheel cylinders. The wheel cylinders are identical per side. So these are two right-hand side wheel cylinders. The left are different, of course, but they're interchangeable on the same side. Just like the brake shoes. The brake shoes are interchangeable as well on the same side. In fact, all four brake shoes are the same on the front. Now, I bought these shoes in 2015, and here we are in August 2024. Obviously they've been kept in a box, but I'm just going to open them up just to make sure that the cylinder walls are fine and the rubber hasn't done something weird. So here we go. So just take the piston out here. Okay. Looks alright. I think generally, let's get that in. We've got a little bit of crud down there. It's probably absolutely fine, but can never be too careful when it comes to brakes. I think that's looking just fine. I can't feel anything. There's no reason why they should really have deteriorated other than the fact that they've been sitting in the box for 9 years. Now, the piston itself looks fine. The seal is nice and flexible. There's no hardening. And so that can go straight back in the cylinder just to double check. Looks all good. There we are. You can just feel a little bit of pressure. It's not super tight. I'm hoping that's enough. But there we are. So on one of the cylinders we have the flexible pipe that comes in from the brake system, and then on the other one we have the bleed nipple. But again, these are identical right hand ones. They are handed. Okay, so we're going to fit the first cylinder. This is the rear one, and the rear cylinder has the top pointing upwards, so it's simply a case of popping it through the back plate. Now it's secured by two bolts, a large one and a small one. One is 1/4 Whitworth and the other one is 1/8 Whitworth. And I'm just going to put a little bit of copper grease or copper seal, anti-seize, on the threads. Just a tiny amount. Put the large one on first. Oops. The large one goes down the bottom. And did I forget the washers? Yes, I did. I'm using the old bolts, but I've just put new washers on. The old bolts were de-rusted, evaporust, and cleaned up pretty nicely. And I'm not going to tighten it all the way. In fact, I'm going to secure the crossover pipe first, because these threads, you really don't want to strip them. So you want to make sure you get a good start to that flare nut. And moving the cylinder around a little bit gives you some help there, especially when you do the other one. So that's what I'm going to do. And that's going in nicely. Okay. So sometimes this crossover pipe, you can see it actually go on the other side of the swivel pin through here. These are pipes I took off the car, cleaned them up, and they were shaped this way. So I don't think it really makes an awful lot of difference, as long as it obviously clears the suspension there. So we get the other cylinder, and this time it goes downwards, there. Just going to take that little plug out, and then get the bolt ready. Just going to put that in loosely in so I have some movement. Now I'm going to take some tiny dab of red grease, probably a bit too much, just to make sure that the threads don't seize. We're in California, so yeah, it's probably going to be okay. This requires a little bit of bending. Let's see to get this in right. So that seems to be going in nicely now. It took a bit of bending to get that nice, but the way that is screwing in nicely tells me I haven't stripped the threads. There we are, and I'm going to tighten that up once I've got the bolts in. Just got this one more, tighten up. So what I'm doing is, it's tight, finger tight, then I'm giving it another kind of 1/8 of a turn or 1/6 of a turn. There we are. You really don't want to risk damaging the flare nut there and the threads by tightening it too much. Okay, I'm just going to swing the wheel around again and then tighten up the other side. Should mean that we're okay. This outlet here is the one that connects to the flex pipe, and the other one on the other wheel cylinder at the back is the bleed nipple. So the next step is to fit the flexible brake hose. Here's the new one. Obviously the old one was completely trashed. Now I spent a lot of time cleaning up the nuts and the star washers that connect this bottom end, this thicker end, to the actual body, and then didn't realize that when I bought the brake hose that it came with new nuts. Oh well. Now the other thing to note is that this end, the one that connects to the brake cylinder, needs a copper washer on the end. And so I got some, actually I cleaned up the old copper washers, but I've got a clean one here, brand new one. That should work. Let's just see. Oops. Wish I knew where the camera was. There we are. Where are you? So we're going to pop that on and screw it straight into the cylinder. Right, so here we go. Once again, just a tiny dab of red grease on here. Just on the threads, not too much. This goes straight in here. Okay, there we are. We're going to tighten that up. Let's see, what's the size? There we are. This actually is a 15mm. I couldn't find a Whitworth that worked, but there we go. This should work. Yep, that's enough. Not sure what the torque setting is, but that's going to be enough. As you can see, the copper pipe, brake pipe, is right there. That's just kind of getting lined up. Why is that discoloured? I don't know. Anyway, alright, so this is going to come in from the top, like so. And we're going to put the nut over here and over here. Remove the covering. Pop this in here. Now I'm going to get this lined up, and once again do it up while it's flexible. There we are, that's going in nicely. That's not stripping. Already got the nut and the washer ready, and I'm going to tighten that up once I've got everything bolted together, as it were, just using fingers there, finger tight. Okay, I think that's good. There we are. Goes there, and then using the new nut. Okay, now we're going to tighten these two up using 2 wrenches, because we don't want to move the pipe. Alright, so this is a 1/2 inch, this one here, that's 3/8 Whitworth. So I'll just hold this with the 3/8 and then tighten this up. So you could do that from over there. Okay. And I think that'll do us, that's not coming apart. Alright. So that's nice and solid there, and then we just need to tighten up that flare spanner. Let's see. Just going to give that a 1/4 of a turn, and that should be enough. Alright, so wheel cylinders in, we've got the flex pipe connected, got the cross pipe in. Now we just need to put the shoes on. And I know what you're thinking, he's forgot to put the bleed nipple in. And indeed he has, so here he goes. Just pop that in. These brake cylinders came with new bleed nipples, which is good. And not to belabor a point, but these are UNF as opposed to the other one, BSF, which I can't remember, BSF. That one's in. Let's just tighten that up. Oh wow, why is this so small? Huh, the bleed nipple is a different size from the crossover pipe. It's 10mm. Alright, whatever the width is. Alright, so that's tight-ish, a little bit more. There we are, that's enough. We'll be undoing that to bleed the brakes anyway, but okay, now the hydraulics are done. He said hopefully. Now we're going to fit the front shoes on the right hand side and of course the two adjusters. So I'm just putting a little bit of brake grease on the bottom of the adjuster. Pop it there. Just put a little bit inside as well. Not too much. Okay. Oops, that's around the wrong way. It's not very useful if you can't get the screwdriver to it. There we are, that's correct. Alright, so that's sitting there. Obviously the other one goes here underneath, and we'll have to put that in once the shoe is in. So now we'll put the shoes in, and you can see that the shoes are identical, but they have a little notch at one end, and that's the notch that goes into the adjuster. So this shoe will go here because the notch will fit into that adjuster right there, and the other one will go like this on the underside. Now the best way to do this is to assemble the springs on the shoes first, rather than put the shoes in and then try to get the springs in, because the springs have to sit behind the shoes, and they sit basically like that. There. Alright, so let's look at our handy dandy diagram, make sure we put the springs in the right holes. Okay, so it goes, the top of the spring goes in the upper hole on the right hand side of the shoe. That's right, and that goes there like that. So now we have the shoes assembled on the springs, and we're going to try and get them over the hub first. So a little bit of levering is required. Let's see if I get a big screwdriver. Okay. Get this out here first. This adjuster's going to come off. I'm just going to, no, I'll leave it. Oh, I'll see. Okay. Now we'll lift this top shoe into, is that it? I think that might be it. Just pull down on the spring. Get the top shoe in here, like that. Make sure that's in the slot. That seems to be okay. It also sits in the other side will sit in the slot in the other wheel cylinder. I'm just going to put a little bit of brake grease in there. Not too much. Wipe it off there. Okay. So there we are. So now in theory the top shoe is in position, sitting on the cylinder in the slot on the right, and then in the adjuster with its little notch on the left hand side, and then we do the same for the bottom. Okay, we're just going to put the second adjuster on and get this brake drum on. There we are, put that there. It's going to be a bit more tricky because it has to be upside down. Come on. Okay, I think that's in. Now let's go do the the same on the other side. There we are. Almost in. There we are. Okay, and there we are. So that's working fine. They're both in position. Now we've got to fine tune the position a bit and get the drum on. So with these adjusters, it's clockwise to tighten, and loosen is anti-clockwise. So I'm going to loosen as much as possible, although to be honest, it is already loose the way it's positioned. Okay, silly me. Okay. So we just want to make sure the drum, when you put the drum on, the drum lines up with the two screw holes here. Like this. Recording? Yep, there it is. Okay, the drum is on. Okay, now we need to adjust it. And we adjust it by using this hole here. And then let's get a torch. So we should see, we can see the adjuster there through the hole. It just moves in clicks. And you kind of got to get them balanced. So it's a little tricky. I think that needs to come off a little bit on this side. So we'll go anti-clockwise. Now you'd expect a little bit of dragging on the new shoes before they bed in, but I think that'll do for now. Just put a little bit of lubrication on the screw just in case. Doesn't do any harm. So there it is. We can adjust that a little later when we get the fluid in the system, and we can operate the brake pedal and make sure that those are adjusted correctly.